The laughter echoed across the Galactic Council chamber. Dozens of alien leaders watched the massive screens, shaking their heads in amusement. The live feed showed Earth Orbital Museum, where old human warships floated quietly in space. The ships were large, heavy, and clearly outdated. Thick metal hulls. No glowing shields. No visible energy cores. "These are their warships," one alien admiral said, clicking his mandibles in disbelief. Another leaned forward. "They call this a defense fleet?" The chamber filled with laughter again. For centuries, humanity had been considered harmless. Clever traders, stubborn diplomats, but weak in war. They joined the Galactic Alliance late, long after others had mastered advanced weapons and faster-than-light combat fleets. Humans brought culture, history, and stories, not fear. Now, the alien invasion fleet hovered near Earth system, and the only thing standing in the way was a museum. On Earth, inside a quiet command hall buried deep beneath the planet's surface, human officers stood in silence. No one laughed. No one spoke loudly. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were focused. Admiral Rowan Hayes looked at the hologram of the enemy fleet. Thousands of ships. New. Sharp. Fast. He turned to a younger officer. "Has the Council issued its demand?" "Yes, sir," she replied. "They say we should surrender." Immediately, Hayes nodded once. "And the museum fleet?" The room paused for half a second. "It is ready, sir." Above Earth, the alien commander opened a wide broadcast channel. "People of Earth," the voice boomed, smooth and confident. "Your defenses are symbolic at best. Your museum ships are relics. Surrender now, and we may spare your planet." The camera feed zoomed in on the museum fleet. The ships floated in perfect alignment, unmoving, dark, and silent. Alien commentators mocked them openly. "Look at the armor plating," one said. "Solid metal. Primitive. Do they even understand modern warfare?" Another joked. On Earth, Admiral Hayes raised his hand slowly. "Begin Phase 1, he said. In space, something changed. One ship, larger than the rest, began to move. At first, it was barely noticeable. A faint vibration passed through its hull. Then, ancient markings along its surface began to glow, not bright, not flashy, but steady and deep, like embers waking from sleep. Alien sensors flickered. "Commander," an officer said, suddenly tense. "We are detecting power output." The alien commander laughed. "From that? Impossible." The ship's light spread across its surface, revealing scars from old battles. Not damage, history. Inside the vessel, systems that had not been active for decades came online. No artificial voice announced the activation. No dramatic countdown. Just quiet precision. Back in the council chamber, the laughter slowly faded. "Is that ship charging a weapon?" someone asked. "No," another replied. "It doesn't match any known weapon system." On Earth, Hayes watched the same feed. "Unlock restraints," he said calmly. The young officer hesitated. "Sir, those ships were sealed for a reason." "I know," Hayes replied. "That reason is no longer valid." In space, the Relic ship rotated, aligning its bow toward the Invader flagship. Alien weapons powered up instantly. "Fire a warning shot," the commander ordered. "Show them how pointless this is." A blast of concentrated energy slammed into the Relic ship. The Council gasped. The energy dispersed across the old metal hull and vanished. No explosion. No damage. The ship did not even move. Silence followed. Alien sensors screamed warnings. "Commander!" an officer shouted. Panic rising. The ship absorbed the impact. "That's impossible," the commander snapped. The Relic ship responded. There was no beam, no sound, no light, just a moment where space itself seemed to bend. Then the alien flagship disappeared. Not exploded, not shattered, gone. The council chamber fell into absolute silence. Multiple screens flickered as sensor data flooded in. No debris, no energy trail, it's just erased. The alien commander stared at the empty space where his flagship had been. On Earth, Admiral Hayes lowered his hand. "Phase 1 complete," he said quietly. above the planet. The rest of the museum's ships began to wake. One by one, the galaxy had laughed at humanity's past. Now, it was about to learn why those relics were never meant to be forgotten. The galaxy did not react with panic. It reacted with denial. Across hundreds of star systems, analysts replayed the same footage again and again. The moment where the alien flagship vanished. No explosion, no debris, just empty space. This must be a sensor failure, one expert said. A trick, another argued. Humans are known for deception. The Galactic Council issued an emergency statement within minutes. The human vessel used an unknown weapon, the speaker announced. But this does not change the balance of power. They were wrong. Near Earth, the remaining invader ships slowly pulled back, forming defensive lines. Their commanders were confused, angry, and deeply unsettled. How did an old ship survive a direct hit? One officer whispered. The alien commander clenched his claws. It should not be possible. That ship has no shield signatures. Yet the relic ship floated untouched, calm and silent. On Earth, Admiral Rowan Hayes stood with his hands behind his back. Around him, officers worked quietly, reading data streams that no alien mind had ever seen. A young analyst broke the silence. Sir, the galaxy is trying to explain what happened. They think it was luck. Hayes allowed himself a thin smile. That is expected. He turned to the main display, showing the museum fleet. Begin Phase 2, he said. Deep within the relic ships, sealed systems unlocked further layers. Not weapons. Memory. The ships were old by design. Their technology was not built to overpower modern fleets in obvious ways. It was built to ignore them. Long ago, when humanity first reached the stars, they learned a harsh lesson. Every new weapon they revealed was copied. Every advantage was neutralized. Every war became louder, faster, and more destructive. So humans changed strategy. They stopped racing forward. They looked backward instead. The relic ships were built using principles abandoned by the galaxy. Physics that were considered inefficient. Designs that were too heavy, too slow, too simple. But simple does not mean weak. In space, the second relic ship powered up. Alien sensors detected nothing unusual. That was the problem. The ship accelerated. Not fast, not slow, just steady. It moved straight to the defensive line of invader ships. No shots fired. No explosions. Then alien systems began to fail. One ship lost gravity. Another lost time synchronization. Crew members screamed as their own bodies felt heavy one second, weightless the next. Commander, an officer cried. Our systems are collapsing, but there is no attack signal. The relic ship passed through them like a ghost. Behind it, 5 alien warships went dark. Not destroyed. Disabled. Drifting helplessly. Back in the council chamber, panic finally began to surface. This is not warfare, one delegate said. This is control. Another leaned forward, eyes wide. Those ships are not fighting us. They are rewriting the battlefield. A human representative sat quietly at the far end of the chamber. He had not spoken since the invasion began. Now he stood. You are mistaken, he said calmly. They are not rewriting the battlefield. The chamber fell silent. They are reminding it, he continued. These ships were never upgraded because they were never obsolete. The council demanded explanations. The human only shook his head. You would not understand yet. Near Earth, the invader fleet attempted a coordinated strike. Hundreds of ships fired at once, flooding space with energy. The relic ships did not evade. They did not counter. They simply endured. The attacks faded, absorbed by hulls designed to handle forces far beyond modern weapons. Then something unexpected happened. The relic ships stopped advancing. They formed a line, facing the invaders. Human channels opened across the galaxy. Admiral Hayes appeared on every screen. This is your final warning, he said, his voice calm and steady. Withdraw now. The alien commander snarled. You dare threaten us with museum pieces? Hayes did not respond immediately. Behind him, the relic fleet powered down slightly, just enough to show restraint. You laughed, Hayes said finally. We allowed it. You attacked. We responded. He leaned forward. You will not get a third lesson. The invader fleet hesitated. For the first time in centuries, a galactic power questioned its own dominance. Slowly, the alien ships began to retreat. Across the stars, a new fear took hold. Humanity had not revealed its future. It had revealed its past. And the galaxy was starting to understand why those relics were locked away. The retreat did not bring peace. It brought fear. Across the galaxy, military academies paused their lessons. Analysts stopped arguing. Historians were suddenly pulled into emergency briefings. Everyone was asking the same question. If those ships were old, what had replaced them? On the edge of Earth's system, the invader fleet held position at a safe distance. Their ships remained powered, weapons ready, but no one dared fire again. Inside the command ship, the alien commander stood in silence, staring at the human relic fleet. They did not chase us, he said slowly. Why? No one answered. Back on Earth, Admiral Rowan Hayes watched the same scene. The relic ships floated in perfect formation, motionless once more, like statues in space. Sir, an officer said quietly, the galaxy is broadcasting emergency signals. They want answers. Hayes nodded. They always do, after the mistake. He turned away from the screen. Prepare the archive, he ordered. Deep beneath Earth's surface, far below oceans and cities, a chamber opened that had not been used in generations. Walls lined with human history. Not records of victory, but of restraint. Humanity had learned long ago that survival was not about being the strongest. It was about being the most patient. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic finally broke through protocol. These ships ignore modern shields, one delegate said. They do not register on our threat models. Another slammed a claw onto the table. Then update the models. A quiet voice answered from the shadows. You cannot, the human representative said calmly. All eyes turned toward him. Why? Demanded a council elder. Because your models are built on progress, the human replied. Ours are built on memory. The council did not understand. So the human continued. Those ships were created after humanity nearly destroyed itself. We learned that faster, brighter, newer weapons always fail in the end. So we built something else. What? The elder demanded. The human met his gaze. Final answers. Near Earth, something new began to happen. The relic ship started transmitting signals, not toward the invader fleet, but outward across the stars. Alien listening posts picked them up instantly. The signals were not commands. They were stories. Records of ancient human wars. Of enemies that once laughed, once underestimated, once attacked. Civilizations that no longer existed. Commander, an officer shouted aboard the alien ship. The human signals are interfering with our networks, but they are not hostile. The commander's eyes widened as data flooded in. These were not threats. They were warnings. One relic ship moved forward alone, separating from the fleet. It drifted closer to the invaders, slow and deliberate. A human channel opened. This vessel is designated Remembrance. Admiral Hayes said calmly, it carries no active weapons. The alien commander hesitated. A trick. Perhaps, Hayes replied, but you attacked first. We are offering understanding. Against every instinct, the commander ordered his ships to hold fire. The relic ship reached the center of the empty space between fleets. Then it activated. Space bent again, but this time, nothing vanished. Instead, the invader saw something impossible. A projection formed around the relic ship. Not an image, not a hologram. A moment in time. They saw an ancient battlefield. Human ships burning. Entire planets scarred. Billions lost. The alien crews felt it. The fear. The desperation. The restraint that followed. This is not an attack, the human representative said softly from the council chamber. This is why those ships were sealed. The projection shifted. It showed the end of a war. One human ship stood alone, capable of wiping out an entire enemy civilization. And it did not fire. Instead, it turned away. The vision faded. Silence returned. The alien commander's voice trembled as he opened a channel. You chose not to end them? Hayes nodded. We always do, until we are forced not to. The relic ship drifted back into formation. Across the galaxy, military leaders reached the same terrifying conclusion. Humanity was not dangerous because of what it could do. Humanity was dangerous because of what it chose not to do. The invaders powered down more weapons. For the first time, they were not retreating out of fear. They were retreating out of respect. And the relic fleet waited, patient as ever, for the next mistake. Respect did not stop the galaxy from planning. It only changed how quietly they did it. Far from Earth, in systems that humans could not easily see, emergency councils formed. Old enemies became temporary allies. Ancient fleets were awakened from storage. Weapons banned for thousands of years were discussed again. The galaxy had made one conclusion. Humanity was not a threat today, but it could become one tomorrow. That could not be allowed. Near Earth, the relic fleet remained still, like statues guarding a forgotten gate. To many alien observers, the ships now felt less like weapons and more like judges. Inside one alien command center, a senior strategist spoke in a low voice. They showed us memory, not force. That was a mistake. Others turned to him. If we strike together, he continued, overwhelm them at once. Even their relics will fall. The decision spread quietly. A second invasion would come. On Earth, Admiral Rowan Hayes sensed the shift before any warning arrived. Human sensors did not rely on energy spikes or weapon charges. They watched behavior, and behavior had changed. They are coordinating, an officer said, across factions that hate each other. Hayes nodded. Fear makes strange friends. He walked slowly toward a sealed console at the center of the command hall. It had no labels, no lights, just a simple human lock. Sir, the officer hesitated. That system has never been activated. I know, Hayes replied. That is why it still exists. He placed his hand on the lock. Authorize Phase 4, he said. For the first time, the relic ships responded differently. They did not power up. They powered inward. Across the fleet, ancient hulls shifted slightly. Plates moved. Internal structures realigned. To alien sensors, it looked like nothing was happening. That illusion lasted exactly 12 seconds. Then space around the relic fleet changed. Not violently. Precisely. Distances shortened. Signals lagged. The laws the galaxy relied on felt unreliable. Alien observers panicked. Our fleets are reporting navigation errors. Time markers are desynchronizing. They are not firing, but space itself is unstable near them. In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos returned. They are preparing another attack, a delegate shouted. We must respond. The human representative stood again. No, he said. You already chose. The council demanded clarification. The human's voice was calm, almost tired. You are afraid of what we might become. So you decided to strike first. Again. Screens across the chamber lit up. Dozens of fleets were moving toward Earth. The second invasion had begun. Near Earth, the relic fleet did not advance to meet them. It spread out. Each ship claimed a position, not random, but deliberate. Alien commanders noticed something strange. They are not forming a defense line, one officer said. They are enclosing. Before the thought could finish, the trap closed. The relic ships activated their true purpose. They did not attack ships. They attacked certainty. Communication across the invading fleets fractured. Command arrived late or early. Weapon systems fired before orders were given. Shields activated after impacts that never came. Panic spread faster than any weapon. Commander! An alien officer screamed. Our fleet is firing on itself. From Earth, Admiral Hayes watched without expression. This is not combat, he said quietly. This is containment. The relic ships emitted no visible weapons. No explosions lit the stars. Yet entire battle groups were rendered useless within minutes. Some ships froze in space, trapped in localized gravity wells. Others drifted endlessly, unable to calculate a stable course. The galaxy realized the truth too late. These ships were not designed to win wars. They were designed to end them before they began. A human broadcast opened across every channel. You came together in fear, Hayes said. You believed overwhelming force would save you. He paused. It never does. One alien commander finally understood. These ships, they are not relics, he whispered. They are boundaries. Hayes nodded. They mark the line we do not cross, he said, and a line we will not allow others to cross either. The invading fleet stopped advancing, not because they were destroyed, but because they could not move. Across the galaxy, silence spread again, heavier than before. Humanity had not revealed new weapons. It had revealed control. And for the first time in galactic history, every major power understood the same terrifying truth. If humans ever stopped holding back, there would be nothing left to fight. The galaxy did not scream. It begged. Across thousands of systems, emergency signals flooded every channel. Not threats, not demands. Please. Governments that once laughed at humanity now spoke in careful, shaking words. They asked for mercy. Near Earth, the invading fleets were still trapped, not destroyed, not damaged beyond repair. Simply held, frozen in positions they could not escape, surrounded by relic ships that did nothing but exist. That silence was worse than battle. Inside one immobilized alien cruiser, the commander sat alone, staring at a blank navigation screen. They could end us, he whispered. Why haven't they? No one answered because no one knew. On Earth, Admiral Rowan Hayes stood before a global council of human leaders, civilian representatives, military commanders, scientists, all watching the same feeds. The galaxy is asking us to stand down, one official said. They are offering treaties, reparations, protection agreements. Hayes listened quietly. And, he asked, they are afraid. Another said, more afraid than ever before. Hayes nodded once, as they should be. But his tone carried no pride. He turned to the main display, showing the relic fleet holding the invaders in place. These ships can erase entire civilizations, he said calmly. You all know that. The room was silent. But they were never built for revenge, he continued. They were built to stop the cycle. A younger representative stood. Then why show them this much power? Hayes looked at him. Because they refused to listen to words. Far beyond Earth, the Galactic Council reconvened in emergency session. The chamber that once echoed with laughter now felt small and fragile. A senior elder spoke with effort. We underestimated humanity. That error is clear. The human representative stood again. You did more than underestimate us, he said. You decided we were safe to attack. The elder lowered his head. We believed your restraint was weakness. The human's eyes hardened slightly. It was choice. Silence followed. Then the elder asked a question everyone feared. What do you intend to do now? Back on Earth, Hayes received the same question from his own people. The room waited. Hayes took a slow breath. We will release them, he said. Gasps filled the chamber. Sir, an officer said, if we let them go, they will remember. Hayes replied. Fear fades. Memory lasts longer. He stepped closer to the display. Prepare Phase 5, he ordered. In space, the relic ships began to move again. Alien commanders panicked as their sensors detected change. They're activating weapons, one officer cried. But no weapons fired. Instead, the space holding the trapped fleets relaxed. Gravity wells weakened. Time distortions eased. Navigation systems slowly returned to normal. One by one, alien ships regained control. Confusion spread. Why are we free? What are they doing? A human broadcast opened. Admiral Hayes appeared, his voice steady across every channel. You came here believing we were relics, he said. You saw our past and laughed. The relic ships drifted aside, opening clear paths for retreat. You attacked. We stopped you. Hayes paused. We could finish this. We choose not to. The alien commander who had first ordered the invasion stepped forward, his voice low. Why? Hayes met his gaze through the screen. Because if we destroy you, he said, we become what we buried. The alien commander swallowed hard. You expect us to leave and not return? Hayes nodded. You will leave, he said, and you will tell the galaxy what you saw. The relic fleet powered down, returning to silent watch. The trapped fleets withdrew slowly, carefully, as if afraid the space itself might change its mind. Across the stars, news spread faster than any ship. Humanity had won without conquest, without extermination. They had demonstrated something the galaxy had never faced before: absolute power guided by restraint. In the Galactic Council chamber, the Elder spoke again, his voice heavy. What are humans now? The human representative answered quietly. A boundary, he said. One you crossed once. He turned to leave. You will not cross it again. As the relic ships returned to their museum positions, sealed systems locking back into place, one truth settled across the galaxy. Humanity did not rule because it was strongest. Humanity ruled because it could stop and chose to. And that choice terrified everyone far more than any weapon ever could. The war ended without a final battle. That fact disturbed the galaxy more than any destruction ever could. The invading fleets returned home in silence. No victory songs. No public speeches. No proud reports. Every commander carried the same memory, being completely powerless and then being released. Not forgiven. Released. Across the galaxy, governments struggled to explain what had happened. Citizens demanded answers. Militaries demanded new weapons. Scientists demanded access to human technology. None of them got what they wanted, because humanity did not share. On Earth, Admiral Rowan Hayes stood alone in the same command hall where the relics had first awakened. The fleet was back in the museum, silent, locked, as if nothing had happened. Sir, an officer said quietly. Long range sensor confirm it. No hostile fleets are moving. Not anywhere. Hayes nodded. They're listening now. Some worlds are dismantling attack fleets. Another officer added. Others are rewriting military doctrine. Hayes allowed a small breath to escape his chest. That will not last, he said. Fear never does. He turned away from the screens. Prepare the final broadcast. Across the galaxy, every channel went live at once. Military, civilian, private, even encrypted networks opened, overridden by a signal no one could block. Admiral Hayes appeared. He did not wear decorations. No dramatic lighting stood behind him. Just a human, standing straight, speaking calmly. This message is not a threat, he began, and it is not a promise of protection. World leaders leaned closer to their screens. You have seen what our past can do, Hayes continued. You have also seen what it chooses not to do. The relic fleet appeared behind him on the display. Old ships, heavy ships, silent ships. We will not join your arms races. Hayes said, we will not compete for dominance. A murmur spread across the stars. But understand this, he said, his voice firm but even. If you ever force us to unlock more than we already have, we will not stop next time. Silence followed. Then Hayes added something unexpected. We are closing the museum. The announcement shocked everyone. On Earth, officials turned toward him. Sir, the relics will remain, Hayes said, but access will be restricted, even to us. He looked directly into the camera. Because power like this should never be convenient. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, reactions were immediate. Some worlds celebrated. Others panicked. A few refused to believe humans would truly step back. Those worlds made plans. Quiet plans. Years passed. Human ships returned to trade routes. Diplomacy resumed. Treaties were signed. Humanity acted smaller again. Calmer. Less impressive. But something fundamental had changed. Every galactic map now had an invisible line around Earth. No fleet crossed it. No probe tested it. No war plan included it. Children in alien schools learned a new lesson in history. Not about the war, that never happened, but about restraint. They learned about the relics, not as weapons, but as warnings about a species that had reached the end of violence once before and chose to bury it instead of perfect it. On a distant world, an alien cadet asked his instructor a simple question. If humans are so powerful, he asked, why don't they rule us? The instructor paused. Because they already proved they could, he said. And then they walked away. Back on Earth, deep beneath the museum, the archive sealed itself again. Doors closed. Systems slept. History returned to silence. Admiral Hayes stood before the lock one last time. They will forget, an officer said behind him. Hayes nodded. Yes. Then what happens? Hayes rested his hand briefly on the cold metal. Then, he said quietly, we remind them. He turned and walked away. Above Earth, the relic ships drifted peacefully, looking once again like harmless monuments. But the galaxy knew better now. Humanity had not ended the war. Humanity had ended the argument. Years later, no one laughed anymore. The museum still floated above Earth, silent and calm. To visitors, it looked peaceful. Old ships, thick metal hulls, simple designs, no glowing weapons, no signs of power. But the galaxy treated that place like a sacred border. Trade routes bent around Earth's system. Military exercises ended far away. Even the most aggressive empires adjusted their maps without asking why. They all knew. Some truths did not need reminders. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, a new generation of leaders sat where the old ones once laughed. The walls had been repaired, the screens upgraded, but the mood was different now. Careful, respectful. A proposal appeared on the central display. Motion, reclassify humanity. Debate followed, but it was short. One delegate spoke quietly. They do not seek control. Another added, they do not threaten. A third finished the thought, but they defined the limits. The vote passed unanimously. Humanity was declared a Tier 0 civilization, not above the galaxy, not ruling it, anchoring it. On Earth, the announcement caused little celebration. No parades, no speeches in the streets. Most humans simply returned to their lives. That confused the galaxy more than anything else. Admiral Rowan Hayes had retired by then. He lived near the coast, far from command halls and screens. When a young officer visited him with the news, Hayes listened politely. They finally named it, the officer said. Hayes smiled faintly. Names do not change reality. The officer hesitated. Do you ever regret it? Not finishing the war? Hayes looked out at the ocean for a long moment. No, he said. Ending it was a point. Far beyond Earth, stories spread. On one world, an alien child asked her grandmother why their fleet had never returned to human space. The old alien closed her eyes. Because we learned something there, she said. What? The child asked. That power is loud, the grandmother replied. But restraint is unforgettable. The museum ships became legends. Some said they were alive. Some said they watched the galaxy sleep. Some said they were keys to weapons no one could imagine. All of those stories were wrong. They were not keys. They were locks. Back in the museum, deep within one relic ship, a final system remained active. Not a weapon, not a defense. A record. It stored every choice humanity had made when it could have destroyed everything. And did not. That record updated quietly, year after year. The galaxy tested the boundary once. A small empire sent a probe toward Earth's outer system. It was unarmed. Curious. Innocent, they claimed. The probe vanished. No explosion. No message. Just gone. No relic ship moved. No broadcast followed. The message was understood. In the Galactic Council chamber, a new rule was added to the charter. Do not test boundaries that exist for a reason. Time passed. Human children grew up learning about the museum as history. Alien children grew up learning about it as warning. And somewhere between those lessons, peace held. Not because everyone agreed, but because everyone remembered. On a distant world, an old alien commander, the one who had first ordered the invasion, stood before a class of cadets. He did not wear medals anymore. When you face humans, he told them, do not look at their ships. The cadets listened closely. Look at their choices, he said. That is where their strength lives. Back above Earth, the relic ships remained still, catching starlight like ancient stone statues. They were no longer jokes. They were no longer threats. They were proof that humanity had reached the end of violence once before, and locked it away. And as long as those relics slept, the galaxy slept a little easier too, because everyone knew the final truth now. If humanity ever woke them again, there would be no lesson left to teach.